And now, let's welcome our guest. Nexterday is the brand new CD by Ric Ocasek. If you have heard it, you're going to stick around. I know you will. If you've not heard it, you need to stick around. We'll play some songs from it and also some classics by the Cars as Rockline welcomes Ric Ocasek. Welcome back to Rockline.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Many years, but we're rectifying the situation as we speak. It's great to have you back on the show. Been a while since you've given us some new music, too, huh, Rick?
Yeah, it took a little bit of time between this record and the last one because I was pretty much producing a lot of albums and things like that and doing some other things that one might do besides, make a record. And so it took me a little time to get back to it, but here we are.
You have produced so many bands. I just made a short list. Bad Religion, Weezer, Suicide, Iggy Pop, Guided by Voices, Bad Brains. Then there's Romeo Void, there's Hole, there's No Doubt, there's Black 47. Include Johnny Bravo, Jonathan Richman, Martin Rev, D-Generation, Possum Dixon, Not a Surf. Am I leaving anybody out? Probably.
That's maybe some, but I'll tell you, that's a lot. Yeah, you're right.
It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's more than a little.
I didn't realize that.
You played
Time goes quickly.
You played almost everything on the CD, didn't you?
Yeah, I did on this record. I did.
Why did you choose to do it that way, and why did you invite the guests that are on the album to participate?
Well, I chose to do it this way because I wanted to, have the songs that were on there. I wanted them to be at the point of inspiration. I kind of wanted to make it simplistic and one-sided and a bit selfish in that sense. I didn't want to go into the studio and re-record all the songs and rehearse a band and do all those things. I was really looking for that sort of personal, oneness sort of thing on this. It felt like a personal record, so I kept it that way.
Go ahead.
Some of the guests I had, I had a drummer, Rob Johannes, play on 2 tracks, I think, drums. Greg Hawkes played on 1 or 2 tracks, and Daryl Jennifer from the Bad Brains played on 1 of the tracks. But other than that, we did the rest.
Other than that, it's you. Boy, it really is a solo album. And you wrote about 30 songs or so going in?
Yeah. I usually write quite a bit of songs. I usually overwrite. I write until I can't think of anything else to write. And then, pick my favorites and then kind of record those.
Are these 11 all favorites of yours?
They were my favorites out of the 30. I suppose they were. When I sequenced them together, those were the ones that stood out that I should put on the record, either because of their lyrics or because I liked the song.
How important is sequencing? When you chose these 11 songs and you sat down and you said, I'm going to put them on an album, I'm going to start with this one, how important is that to you, and what kind of time consumption is involved in that?
Sequencing is not too difficult. Once you know the songs you want to use, it's really just, it's funny, I still think of, even though we're working with CDs these days, I always think of it as an album. I always think side 1, side 2. So if there's 11 songs, I'll think of the first 6 for the first side, and I'm still in that habit. However, it's, it depends. It's kind of what runs into the next song that's, comparable. And that's really basically it. You can sort of tell what fits with what, and what the flow should kind of be.
So on this CD, on Nexterday, does side 1 end with Silver, or does it end with Come On? Where's the line of demarcation here?
Is it 11 songs?
It's 11 songs.
I think the first half is stops in the middle of Silver, and then continues on to the next side.
You got to turn it over. I love that. What happened to the other songs? I would assume that there were some out of that batch of 30 that were pretty good and might find the light of day somewhere else. Is that the case?
Yeah, I usually stick those in a drawer until the next record, but usually when I do a new record, I never open the drawer. So there's a whole lot of songs back there.
But you're not going to keep them there for 8 years this time again, are you?
No, I can't. I should do quicker records, I think.
Well, we certainly hope so, but we're happy with the one you've just given us. Nexterday is the name of the album. A chance for you to talk with Ric Ocasek tonight on Rockline, toll-free at 1-800-344-ROCK. This is the first single from the album. It's called Bottom Dollar. And welcome back to Rockline, letting the good times roll with Ric Ocasek tonight. And your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. Our first caller is Kirk from Myrtle Beach, Florida. Hi, Kirk.
Yeah, hey. Let me ask you, who came up with the album covers for the Cars LPs, and who was the lady on them?
Well, our drummer, David Robinson, came up with all the concepts for all those covers. The girl that was on the first album cover, we didn't meet until about 6 years after we had really done the first album. I don't even know her name. So we don't know her name. She's the mystery girl behind the steering wheel. But it was David who designed them and pretty much came up with the concept of all the covers, and then he would work with the art department and sort of get it into its final stage.
Now, you have a graphic artistic side. Was it just kind of the band saying, David, you're the guy for this, go for it, and letting him do it?
Well, it was also because David originally showed interest in doing that. He had a lot of material, especially for the first cover. He was very design-oriented, and he loved doing that, and no better person than him to do it. I mean, it wasn't sort of a struggle to see who would do it. It was kind of, I think we all had confidence that David would do it.
Well, they're striking, memorable covers. I mean, every one of them. And of course, the Vargas cover is just over-the-top fantastic.
He's still doing good artwork, and he does wonderful artwork.
Well, I know he's in the Boston area, You never know who's listening to Rockline. We'll take a call from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Joe, you're on with Ric Ocasek.
Hey, Rick, great to talk to you, and it was great seeing you on your tour in Troubleizing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see you in this tour, but if any other dates, I'll try to.
Well, thanks.
Two-part question, Rick. About your DVD with the Cars Unlocked, just any updates on maybe when it may be released and what it would contain, and also, like, if there's any chance of a Cars DVD video on in the project. Right.
Well, the Cars Unlocked video is DVD, I should say, is I assume it's going to be out like after the first of the year, so it'll be out in 2005. It's got about 25 songs on it. They're all live. They're recorded in clubs and in big concert arenas or whatever. There's a lot of there's a lot of footage from when we got our first camera. There's a lot of sort of comical things. I suppose they're comical. I mean, they're comical to us, but it's a sort of a look at the Cars that I don't think anyone's ever seen. And it's sort of a great representation of what the Cars were like during those times. And better than anything I've seen, actually, to date, that's on DVD.
I want to see the live stuff. I can't wait to see that. And I assume there's all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff that you were alluding to with the first camera. That must be fun.
Yeah, it is. It's just pretty darn good.
The other part of what Joe asked was possibly a DVD of just the videos. How many videos did the Cars do over the years? Do you have any idea? I mean, you did some great ones.
We did do some really good ones, and just ballparking it, I would assume we probably did 15 or 20 videos. I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be on DVD. There was never really a compilation of videos on DVD. It probably could be done if one just sort of went to the appropriate company and said, hey, why don't we do that?
I bet you Joe in Pittsburgh would buy a copy of it. Joe, thanks for being on the show tonight. We'll talk to Tim in Wheeling, West Virginia. Welcome to Rockline. I got Ric Ocasek for you.
Hi, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, two questions for you real quick. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask, first of all, what do you think of the song Just What I Needed being used for a Circuit City commercial, which they're showing? And secondly, what is your fondest memory of Benjamin Orr?
Well, I'll start with the Benjamin Orr part. I had known Ben since I was about 22 years old, and we were in every band that I ever had. I have a very odd memory of him, besides him being sort of, my right-hand closest friend. I remember once being in Columbus, Ohio, and there was a circus in town at Ohio State University. And I shouldn't say this on the air, but him and I were tripping. And we climbed underneath a tent it was late at night and the circus was closed, and we saw some elephants in there. But there was a guy with a big stick beating the elephants. And Ben and I, since we were tripping out, we just were crying. We were crying as we saw this elephant getting beaten. And I just, I have to flash on that. I don't know why. It's just like we were just sort of sitting in the corner crying over this elephant getting beaten. So there's a strange memory for you.
Well, it's nice to know you have that sensitive side about you. Yeah.
You were looking for it.
And you shouldn't say that him and I were tripping. You should say he and I were tripping.
Well, that's true, if I wanted to be literal. But, and the second question I've seen
was
to elude me. And
Circuit City and Just What I Needed?
Oh, Circuit City, well, did I know? Of course I knew about it because they asked if they can use that for a commercial. And I would say that I just, bent to it and did it. And that's all I can really say about that.
Something is rattling around in my head from a previous Rockline with you many years ago that when Just What I Needed was first released on a 45 RPM vinyl single, that the original pressing was one channel only. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. The actual single that was being played on radio was just half the song. It's the one that was the hit. It was half a track. It was they shipped out inferior, records. It was like one side, so they played it in mono, and it sort of sounded pretty good, but it wasn't the full take.
Half a song, but a whole hit.